Hi, I'm Skip Schwink. Welcome to the Sun King Podcast. In 1995, I moved to Los Angeles for the third time to try to make it in the entertainment industry. These are my stories of working with the biggest artists in the world. And I also partied my ass off the entire time.
This is where it all ends. Sun King, baby. Let me take you by the hand. Oh, Sun King, honey. We can rule across this land. I'm a Sun King, baby, yeah, yeah. With you, I share my throne.
High Grass Dogs, live at the Fillmore. Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. It's a very rare concert film from 1999, and I just looked it up on Amazon before recording this, and it's like $100 now. So it's a collector's item. I'm going to become more so, and I was lucky enough to work on it. This is that story. Now, with that said, this story is a bit of a consensual freak story. Again, this is all, rated R, no X here, but there is a fun story of something that never happened to me before that was different. Again, single in my 20s. I'm working on a music video in LA, and I meet this dancer, and we really hit it off and have a blast, and she comes down to visit me at the beach. And it's funny because I'm waiting for her, and I hear out on the street, just hear this rumbling of a muscle car, like boom, 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 boom. I'm like, ooh, what is that? So I run out, and a Dodge Viper, like V10, pulls up right in front of my place and stops. I was like, who the fuck is that? She gets out. I was like, oh, what? This weekend's already starting off with a bang. And we hang out, and she's great, and we go rollerblading down the Strand in Manhattan Beach and all that, and cruising around. We're back up by the apartment, and I'm like, hey, listen, before we hit the bar and go start drinking, can I drive your car? And she's like, yeah, sure. Got to drive the Dodge Viper V10 around Manhattan Beach. There were a few roads that were empty and hit a few speed limits and beyond. Super fun car to drive. So we go out and we're having some drinks and hanging out. And she says, I shit you not. We're hanging out and she's having a good time, but she seems like she's suddenly kind of preoccupied. And I'm like, what's the matter? You all right? And she's like, she leans in and goes, can we just go back to your place and fuck? Check, please. Took the blades off, hailed a cab, took it back to the place, went into my room, consensual freaks. That's all you need to know. A couple hours later, we come out, and I thought I was alone. For some reason, I thought my roommate was away for the weekend. And I come out of the bedroom, and we were oblivious to the world because we were just being way too loud. And we come out, and there's my roommate and a group of his friends just sitting there. And they're all just kind of staring at me. And I was looking at them, and I'm all sweaty. I got like a bunch of scratches on my back. And I go look at my roommate and go, how long you been here? And he just smiles and goes, long enough. And the one guy's holding her modeling book and looking at her pictures, and they were amazing. He's like, is this her? I was like, yeah. And he was like, oh. So I felt horrified for her. So I go back in the room. I was like, oh, my God, my roommate came home with a bunch of his friends. I didn't know he was going to be in town today. And she's like, it's fine. I don't care. She didn't. So, we got dressed and went out and chatted with them for a little bit. And they were like, we're going out, hitting the bars down in Hermosa. If you want to come out, we'll buy you some beers. And I was like, all right. So her and I hung out for a little bit and consensual freaks. And a little while later, we went down to the beaches to try to find these guys. And I was all excited. I was like, yeah, let's get some drinks. These guys are going to buy me free drinks. I was always broke. That's all I wanted. I wanted the free drinks. And we're looking for them. I couldn't find them. And they weren't answering their phone. And so she's getting kind of irritated, and I go, I'm sorry, do you not want to be out? And she goes, I just want to go back and fuck. Taxi! Back to the place. So a couple weeks later, she hits me up because we kind of trying to hang out a little bit, and says, hey, you want to get together? And I'm like, rain check. I just got hired to go work on a Tom Petty concert at the Fillmore in San Francisco. She's like, oh, that is super cool. And I'm like, yeah, I'm very excited. And she's like, I got a great friend that lives up there. If you're going up and you got the time, you guys should meet up. She's a total blast. She'll show you the town. I'm like, all right, sounds good. So I drive up and I get up there and she calls me on the way and it's like, hi, and introduces herself. And I'm like, yeah, it sounds fun. I'm going to be up there. I got some stuff to do and let's meet up for happy hour or whatever. Because the next day was the shoot. But it was a little bit of a later call day. It wasn't early in the morning because we were going to be filming the concert at night. But I still had to be there at like noon to help set everything up. So I had some time. I had the night. So I went around San Francisco by myself for a couple hours. I didn't want her to show me the town. I just wanted to go do it on my own. And this is before I had met her. And I kind of had this planned in my head. I just wanted to tour around by myself. Sometimes I like to do that. And I went down to the wharf, got like a chowder bowl and all that, and saw the seals. It was all misty, or is it the lions that are out there? I can't remember which water sea lion walrus thing that sleeps out there, and there's a boatload of them. And it was awesome, and they're adorable. And I went to Haight-Ashbury, where Fillmore was. So, I'd been there already with the truck equipment, but I didn't get to, hang out there. So I went and cruised around that whole area, and San Francisco is so cool. It's so pretty. It's my favorite city, plain and simple. And I go walking in the Fillmore. The interesting thing about it is it's on the second floor. So there's some storefronts out on the sidewalk, and one of them is the Fillmore store, whatever it's called. And I go in, and there's this little back room, and it's all like psychedelic lit, and there's this really old, worn out couch, and it's got like some Grateful Dead blankets thrown over it and everything. And on the wall this couch is facing is the bust of Jerry Garcia. And it's like, lit with one light, and it's like just a friggin' altar. And I said to the guy, I go, do people just come in here and chill and just, pray to the Garcia? And he's like, oh, for hours, all day long. I'm like, oh, so they're just like tripping and sitting there and zoning out. And he's like, oh, yeah. I did not. I wanted to enjoy my day. I was being good. But it was super cool to be around that area. So I go and I meet up with this woman for happy hour. Shows up, friend of this beautiful dancer, so of course she's beautiful too. And we chat and get along. Nice. She's got kind of that same personality that my dancer friend had. Really just fun and outgoing and just not afraid to take life on. So we're drinking and we're hanging out and having some laughs, and she just leans in and she starts kissing me. And I'm just kind of like, I wasn't dating her friend, but I just didn't know if it was all right. I was like, because her dancer friend introduced us only once or twice. We hung out, and so I was like, is she gonna be cool with this? And she's like, she's the one that told me to do it. I'm like, what? She's like, yeah, she said you were a great fuck and we should get together. I was blown away. I was like, what? It's like, did she pimp me out to you? And she's like, I'm sorry, are you offended by that? And I just smiled real big and went, I feel like fucking Hugh Hefner right now. Are you kidding me? She's like, yeah, let's have fun. And we did. We had a blast. We drank at the bar. We were getting hammered. We were making out, dancing, and just living in Frisco. And I said, I was kind of hammered. I'm like, hey, I've never been over the Golden Gate Bridge. And she says, let's go. So she takes me. It's like 2 a.m. or something. And dead of night, screaming out of the car, yeah, Chef Fred, Frisco, Niners. Having a blast. We went down on the beach at night, and it was just, it was so much fun. It was so much fun. Consensual freaks on the beach. Went back to the hotel room, consensual freaks at the hotel room, and it was a great time. And so the next day, I get to sleep in a little bit, but I'm still hurting a little bit, hangover as usual. Everything was on par. Everything was on course for the way it usually was. So I get there around noonish, and we get set up and are setting up all the equipment. And I was going to be stationed with the techno crane that is like down on the floor of the auditorium, and would have like some metal gate around it, so nobody can get right there because we got it's a crane base. And I was going to be with that guy and run film. If he ran out, bring some over, take what he shot back, and that was my job while the show was going. Before it was all setting it up, helping him get all set up. So after it's all set up, we got some time. We're taking it easy, and the doors open and people start coming in. So we go over and we go to the auditorium. I'm sorry, you probably heard me burp again. Damn wine. And I walk into the auditorium with a crew buddy of mine, and Jesus, I am sorry. The wine just giving me so many burps these days. I don't want to get old. And we walk in, and who's on stage? There's a pretty small, medium-sized group of people around the stage, people milling about, places filling up, beginning of a show. It's an opening act. Just a man sitting on a chair, jamming his guitar. That man happened to be B.B. fucking King. I mean, I stopped in my tracks and I went, what the fuck? That's B.B. King. And my crew buddy went, yeah, you didn't know he was an opening act? And I'm like, no. So I stood there and watched him play the whole time because we were done. We weren't filming him, so we just hung out and watched. It was amazing. I got to see B.B. King. It blew my mind. It just blew my mind. That's a big one out of left field that, you're never thinking in life. I'm like, I'm probably never going to get that opportunity. And boom, you just walk into it. Working in L.A. Hollywood! So a little later, Tom Petty comes on, and the place is filled up. It's packed to the gills. And it's awesome because we're in this little spot with the railing around us. So, we've got some room to move. I'm just standing there very comfortably, moving around, having a drink. And we were drinking beers while we were working. We're like, it's a concert. Fuck it. All we got to do is film. So people around me are all shoved shoulder to shoulder looking at me going, God, can I have your job? And I'm like, not tonight, buddy. Back off. So they played the show, and you knew every song, and it was great. And everybody's singing along, and they sounded pitch perfect. The only other live band I saw in my life that sounded as good live as they do on their album was U2. And Tom Petty was right there with them. Sounded just pitch perfect. I mean, you knew every single song. It was amazing. It was truly amazing. It was a very, very special night. And afterward, we're sitting around. We clean it up. We kind of take a break before we're going to start to really break everything down and let the band, get all their stuff out the back. And we're chilling. And out of the back, I look up. And who's walking towards me? And it's just like that story I told you earlier about Star Trek cast coming right at me. Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers walking at me. Just like in a music video. Tom's out front, Heartbreakers are behind him. Again, in the pattern that they are kind of in the lineup. You know what I mean? So he's walking towards me, and for whatever reason, I said, hey, Tom. Like I fucking know him. And he just looks at me, and I said, hey, what's your favorite song you ever wrote? And without missing a step, he just walks by and says, all of them.